Look, brother, I want you to visualize this scenario for a second. You are with that woman you are into. You are talking to her, joking around. Everything seems to be flowing perfectly. But there is something about the way she looks at you, how she responds, the way she plays with her hair, or how she pulls away for moments. And you do not know if that is genuine interest or simply politeness. You ask yourself, does she like me, or is she just being nice? Well, let me tell you something that many men refuse to accept. When a woman starts behaving in a certain way, it is not a coincidence, it is psychology. And if you know how to read those signals, you already have her. Yes, I said it, you already have her. Not because you possess her, nor because it is a power game, but because you have understood how her emotional mind operates. Most men do not do this. They get confused, they get desperate, they act from a place of neediness, and that is when the woman disconnects. But if you manage to stay calm, conscious, observant, everything changes. Women do not fall in love with what they see. They fall in love with what they feel when they are with you. And that, my friend, is what the majority ignores. You do not need to be the most handsome, nor the richest, nor the funniest in the group. You need to understand what awakens her curiosity, her intrigue, and her desire to keep discovering you. Here is where female psychology comes in. It is the emotional map that very few men dare to study, but those who do achieve something powerful, connecting without begging. Because when you understand how a woman acts when she feels something real, when you know how to recognize those gestures, those pauses, and those little tests, you stop chasing and start attracting. In this video, I am going to teach you to recognize those signals, those attitudes that seem simple but hide a clear message. She is already interested. Get ready, because what you are going to hear could change the way you understand women forever. 1. When she argues with you, she is not rejecting you. She is putting you to the test. Look, I'm going to tell you something that many men still do not understand. When a woman argues with you, she is not always pushing you away. Sometimes she is observing you. Yes, you heard right. That discussion that you interpret as disinterest or lack of respect is often an emotional test to measure who you really are. Think about it for a second. Why would a woman waste energy arguing with you if she did not care about you at all? Exactly. A woman only invests emotion where she feels something. It might be curiosity, attraction, or even confusion, but it is emotion nonetheless. And emotions are the foundation of every female connection. When a woman disagrees with you, she is not looking to be right. She is looking to feel something with you. She wants to see if you can maintain your calm under pressure, if you have character, or if you crumble at the first friction. She does not do it to dominate you. She does it because she wants to know if she can trust your energy. And here comes the part that separates the men from the boys. The majority react poorly. They get defensive, they raise their voice, they try to demonstrate power with empty words, but the men who understand female psychology do not fall for that. They do not seek to win the argument. They seek to maintain the direction. Listen to me well. When she throws a challenging comment at you, what she is really saying between the lines is, are you stable enough to stand firm when things get intense? If you lose control, she perceives weakness. If you stay calm, secure, perhaps even with a slight smile, she notices it. And believe me, that awakens something very different in her mind. I am not telling you to ever let her disrespect you, but I do tell you this. A woman respects a man who can keep his peace more than one who tries to impose authority by shouting, because calm under pressure is power and self-control is attractive. Furthermore, there is a psychological detail that few know. When a woman argues with you, she activates an emotional part of her brain that only wakes up for someone who matters to her. She does not argue with someone who does not interest her. She simply ignores that person. So if she challenges you, do not take it as a war. Take it as an opportunity to show her your balance. Do you know what a man who understands this does? He listens without getting upset. He responds with intelligence. Sometimes he even agrees with her without needing to surrender because he knows that the argument is not the point. The emotional connection is. Here is where many fail. They want to have the last word, but men who truly master their energy know they do not need to prove anything. They let their attitude speak, and that tranquility, that silent security, is what disarms a woman faster than any argument. So the next time a woman argues with you, do not run, do not get frustrated, do not try to convince her of anything. Observe, keep your tone, and above all, keep your internal power. Because when she sees that you do not wobble in the face of pressure, something changes in her gaze. She no longer sees you as just another guy. She sees you as someone with presence. And here is the truth that nobody says. Most female tests are not to push you away, they are to discover if you are real. If you pass that test, she does not need more words, because from there on, her mind starts associating you with something she rarely finds: emotional stability and quiet strength. That, my friend, is worth more than 1,000 pretty phrases. 2. If she starts to distance herself, it is not always a bad sign. Let me ask you something, brother. What do you do when she starts to pull away a little? When before she wrote to you quickly, smiled more, sought you out, and suddenly she becomes colder, quieter, more distant. Most men, when they feel that, enter a state of panic. They start calling, texting, looking for explanations. But listen to this, that distance does not always mean she has lost interest in you. Sometimes that distance is precisely the part of the process where a woman wants to verify how authentic you are. Because there is one thing every woman notices with precision: how you react when she pulls away. And that reaction says more about you than any pretty word. When a woman feels a connection with you, her mind begins to analyze if that connection is emotionally safe or just a momentary illusion. And to know that, she needs space. She does it unconsciously, not as a strategy. It is her way of measuring if you are a man with emotional dominion or if you depend on her attention to feel valuable. Here comes the most important part. If you get desperate, you lose her. But if you keep your calm, if you do not run after her, if you continue with your life without resentment, without complaints, without drama, that puzzles her. Because the average man reacts from neediness. The man who understands female psychology reacts from stability. Think about it. When she pulls away and you maintain your center, you send a silent but powerful message. You are telling her without words that your world does not revolve only around her, that you have purpose, direction, and control of yourself. And that, for a woman, is tremendously attractive. There is something curious that happens in the female mind. When she pulls away and notices that you do not chase her, she starts thinking about you more. Her mind asks, why did he not react like the others? And that thought turns into intrigue into curiosity, and curiosity into attraction. Most men believe that recovering a woman's attention means doing more, calling more, writing more, insisting more. But the truth is that often, attracting more means doing less. It is having the maturity to allow her that space without losing your essence. Do not confuse calm with indifference. Being a calm man does not mean you do not care. It means you know when to move and when to observe. Patience is a form of power that few understand. And believe me, when a woman sees that you do not crumble because of her silence, something inside her changes because she understands she cannot control you with her distance. Do you know what the majority does? She starts imagining you busy, focused, moving forward, and that generates a type of emotional tension that no woman forgets. In that moment, you stop being an option and become an emotional challenge. It is not about manipulating. It is about maintaining your balance. Because if anything attracts a woman for real, it is a man who does not need her constant attention to feel complete. That energy is perceived, it is felt, it is respected. So the next time you notice she is pulling away, do not take it as the end. Take it as the moment when you must demonstrate that you can keep your power. Stay focused with purpose, with calm. Let her see that you do not fall apart by her absence. And when she notices that you are still there, tranquil, moving forward without anxiety, believe me, she will get close again, because women always return to the energy that transmits peace and strength to them. That is the paradox. Sometimes, When you do not chase her is when she seeks you the most. 3. Irony and humor are her favorite weapons to show interest. Brother, I want you to think about that moment when a woman throws a comment at you with a semi-sarcastic tone, with a smile that you do not know if it is mocking or playful, and you stay there confused, not knowing if she is flirting or just laughing at you. Well, let me tell you something few men understand. When a woman uses irony with you, she is not always trying to push you away. Many times she is trying to get closer without making it obvious. Emotionally, women are masters at disguising their interest. They do not usually show it directly. They do it in a more subtle, more psychological way. And humor, especially that ironic touch, is one of their preferred forms to generate emotional connection without losing control of the situation. Sometimes when a woman feels attracted, her mind needs to ensure she is not being too obvious. That is why she uses humor as a kind of shield. What she is doing, without saying it, is testing how you react. She wants to see if you can keep up with her pace, if you can maintain calm, if you can enjoy the game without taking everything so seriously. And here is where many men get confused. Some get offended, others close up, and the most insecure ones start acting defensively. But the man who understands female psychology knows that behind that irony, there is something deeper. There is emotional curiosity. There is an attempt to create tension, to test if her presence affects you, or if you can stand firm in your energy. That tension is the basis of attraction, because attraction is not built with sweet words or exaggerated demonstrations. It is built with emotions, and humor, especially when it comes from an interested woman, is one of the most elegant ways to generate those emotions without saying, "I like you." Think about it. When a woman feels comfortable joking with you, that already says a lot. She is breaking invisible barriers. She is showing you that she can relax by your side, that she feels free to be herself. And that, in female psychology, is a clear signal of emotional connection. But here's the detail many do not see. Female humor is also a form of emotional evaluation. Through that irony, she perceives if you are emotionally mature, if you have confidence, if you can stay calm and respond with balance, because the man who takes everything as an attack shows insecurity, while the man who smiles and understands the energy behind the comment demonstrates stability. Women feel attracted to men who can enjoy the moment without needing to control the situation. That capacity to maintain internal control without imposing it transmits security. And when a woman perceives that security in the middle of an exchange of humor or irony, something inside her activates. She does not say it, but she feels it. The curious thing is that in this type of communication, it is not about what is said, but about how it feels. Words are just the wrapper. What really matters is the emotion that surges in the middle of that interaction. And if she laughs with you, relaxes, responds with that subtle spark, do not doubt it. You are generating a real connection. That is why when a woman throws that kind of energy at you, do not take it as mockery or a challenge. Take it as a covert emotional language. She is playing, yes, but not to humiliate you, but to connect from another angle. So the next time that happens, do not get frustrated. Do not analyze it too much. Enjoy the moment, because behind that irony is a silent message that only attentive men manage to read. You make me feel something. And when you manage to make a woman feel something, even if it is through humor, you have already taken the first step to be in her mind. 4. When she talks about other men, she wants to see your reaction. Brother, let's be honest for a moment. What happens inside you when that woman you like mentions another man? When she tells you that someone asked her out, or that a coworker complimented her, or simply names another guy with a smile? What do you feel? Many men break down inside, they tense up, go cold, or try to hide it. But the discomfort is noticeable. And here is the truth few want to accept. She notices everything. Now listen to me well. When a woman mentions another man, she does not always do it because she is interested in him. Many times she does it because she wants to see how you handle the situation. She wants to observe your emotional reaction. And believe me, she is not evaluating your words. She is evaluating your control. What most men do not understand is that the way you react in that instant can define what she feels for you afterward. If you lose your composure, if you start competing, if you try to demonstrate your value with phrases or disguise jealousy, she perceives it as insecurity. And insecurity is one of the biggest emotional repellents. Here is where I want to be direct with you, straight to the point. Many men fail because they still seek validation. They believe that to keep a woman, they must constantly impress her or protect their ego at all costs. But that constant need for recognition is what destroys your presence. If a woman can control your emotions just by mentioning another man, then you are not in control of yourself. You are in control of your fears. And that, brother, is what you must understand. She does not want to see you compete. She wants to see if you can maintain your center, if you can stay tranquil knowing who you are, without needing to compare yourself to anyone. Because true security is not demonstrated by speaking. It is demonstrated by not reacting. Think about this. If every time a woman mentions another man, you change your attitude, the only thing you are showing her is that you depend on her approval to feel valuable. But when you maintain your serenity, when you smile without losing balance, when you do not show anxiety or annoyance, you are sending a silent but powerful message. I am enough, with or without your attention. That attitude, that energy is what really awakens respect, not because you fake coldness, but because you transmit maturity. And here comes the most important part. A woman does not look for a perfect man, she looks for a man who does not crumble when life puts him to the test. And these types of moments are those little tests. That is why I tell you this with total honesty. Stop reacting as if every mention of another man were a threat. It is not. It is an opportunity to show her that you are not part of the bunch, that you are not defined by what others do, but by who you are and how you manage yourself emotionally. Real men do not compete for attention, they simply attract it through their energy, and that energy comes from calm. When you can maintain your peace, even in moments when she tries to pull you out of your center, that is where she starts seeing you differently, because she understands she cannot manipulate you emotionally, that you are solid, that your value does not depend on anything external. So, here is your advice, brother. Wake up. Do not fall into the ego game. Do not lower yourself to the level of fear. Learn to master your emotions and keep your composure. Because the man who can remain calm while others get desperate always wins, not because he imposes power, but because he transmits stability. And in the mind of a woman, stability is irresistible. 5. When she copies you, you are already in her mind. Brother, I want you to remember something that perhaps has happened to you without you noticing. You are talking to a woman, days pass, and suddenly you realize she starts using your same words, your expressions, or even your way of saying things. Maybe she starts getting interested in the same topics you mentioned, or reacts just like you in certain situations. And that is when many men do not realize what is really happening. When a woman starts to copy you, it is because you are already in her mind. Yes, it might sound simple, but psychologically, it is much deeper than you imagine. People only unconsciously imitate those who generate an emotional connection for them, and women especially do it when something in you impacts them more than they want to admit. It is not about superficial imitation, it is about emotional synchrony. When a woman begins to reflect you, she does not do it to manipulate you or to deceive you. She does it because your presence generates an energy that her mind starts to absorb. It is her natural way of feeling closer to you, even without saying it. And here is the key point. That connection is not created with words. It is created with emotional energy. What you transmit, she perceives. If you are calm, she lowers her pace. If you speak with clarity, she starts expressing herself with more confidence. If you are focused, her energy adjusts to yours. That is the reason why a man with internal dominion does not need to chase, because his balance creates a mirror effect. But here comes something many men forget. Not all women imitate a man because they love him, but none do it for no reason. That is the difference. When you notice she starts reflecting you, adopting your rhythm, answering similarly to you, it means her mind is taking you as a reference. And in female psychology, that is huge. However, here goes the warning. Many men get confused and believe that when a woman shows that synchrony, everything is already done. No, brother, that is just the beginning, because when you reach that point is when you must guard your energy the most. An emotionally connected woman feels everything, your calm, your insecurity, your doubts, your silences. And if you lose your center, she perceives it immediately. That is why I tell you clearly, if you are already in her mind, make sure that what you leave there is stability, confidence, and direction, not anxiety or neediness. Because once a woman connects with you emotionally, her mind starts associating you with a sensation. And you decide what that sensation will be when she copies you, when she starts reflecting your gestures or your words. It is not a coincidence. It is her unconscious way of saying, I feel good with you. I like this energy. And that is the moment when you must remain most authentic, because at that point, any forced or insecure change can break the connection. So instead of thinking too much about what it means, observe it as a silent signal of emotional attraction. She will not say it directly, but her body language will scream it. She does not need to confess it. Her behavior will do it for her. And remember something very important, brother. When a woman starts to reflect you, do not try to change to impress her. Stand firm to inspire her, because what attracts her is not who you pretend to be, but the energy you maintain when you do not need to pretend anything. That is the difference between a man who causes curiosity and one who leaves a mark. So the next time you notice a woman starts copying you, smile. Do not take it as a coincidence. It is the clearest proof that without realizing it, you have already entered her mind. And when you are in her mind, you have already taken the most powerful step. You have awakened in her something that words could never achieve. Brother, after everything I have told you, I want to leave you with something few dare to say out loud, but everyone should hear. It is not the woman who decides if she chooses you. It is your energy that decides if she can feel safe with you. Sounds strong, right? But it is the truth that many avoid because it is easier to blame women than to assume one's own power. The reality is that if you manage to master your energy, your mind, and your emotions, you do not need to chase anyone. Attraction ceases to be an effort and becomes a consequence. That is the part many men do not understand. They spend their lives trying to decipher women when, in reality, what they should decipher is themselves. Because the day you learn to stay stable, calm, firm in who you are, every woman who is emotionally available is going to notice your presence, not because you say much, but because you transmit something that cannot be faked. Peace with purpose. So now I want to know your experience. I want you to tell me in the comments if you ever noticed these signals in a woman, if you ever realized too late that she liked you, or if any of these truths made you reflect. I will be reading every comment and answering some personally, because I want to build something real with you, man to man, a community where we speak without masks, with respect and truth. Because understanding female psychology is not about controlling, but about comprehending. And when you comprehend, you become the type of man who does not seek validation, but connection.